Okay, cool. Thank you. Wait, what was I gonna do? I was gonna... Oh, yeah. My bad. I was going to show you a video. Okay, hold on. Alright, I learned a lot from this. This is actually something I learned a ton from the game.
When we apply an element on an enemy in Genshin Impact, the only thing that we see is whether or not that element was applied. To us, it appears as a binary state of matter. The element is either on or it's off. But what's actually going on under the hood is that we apply a certain amount of that element, and that amount gradually decays over time. When we trigger a reaction against that enemy, we have to spend some of this amount to fuel the reaction. This is the basic principle that governs how reactions work in Genshin Impact, and the larger system of rules and behaviors related to reactions is known as the elemental gauge theory, or sometimes gauge unit theory. Before we get into the details, let's first define some terminology. From this point on, when I apply an element on an enemy that isn't already afflicted by an element, I'll refer to that as the aura element.
Right.
When I trigger a reaction against an enemy that already has an aura, I'll refer to that second element as the triggering element.
The trigger. Right. 1, 2. Okay.
It's also worth mentioning here that Geo and Anemo cannot apply auras on enemies. They can only be used as triggering elements. Now let's really get started. Going back to the elemental aura, we can think of this decaying meter as a kind of gauge that measures how much of the aura element is remaining on the target at any given time. The initial value of this gauge depends on the attack that we use to apply that aura. Every elemental attack has a predefined number of gauge units that determines how much of its element it applies. Most attacks in this game apply 1 gauge unit of their element. We call these 1 unit or 1U attacks for short. Then there are some attacks that are categorized as 2U attacks, which sensibly apply twice as much of their element as 1U attacks do. And even fewer are those in the 4U category, which apply 4 times as much. With the introduction of Nahida, we even have a 1.5U category, which currently only includes the Tri-Karma Purification proc of her skill. When you apply an elemental aura from multiple sources, they don't stack on top of each other. Instead, it simply refreshes the aura using whichever one has the higher gauge units. Now, even though we're using 1, 2, and 4U attacks, you might have noticed that in my illustrations, the elemental aura gauge doesn't quite fill up to those values. This is to account for something known as the aura tax. The aura tax is a rule that reduces the amount of gauge units by 20% if an attack is being used to apply an aura. In this example, I'm using Kaya's skill to apply
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, if you're applying... Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
On this Ruin Guard. Kaya's skill is a 2U attack, which normally applies 2 gauge units of cryo. But since it's being used to generate an aura, the amount of cryo that actually gets applied is 20% less, or 1.6 units in total. As we saw in the introduction, when we apply a triggering element onto a target that has an aura, it triggers a reaction and consumes a portion of the elemental aura gauge. As you might guess, the amount of gauge units that are consumed, again, depends on the gauge unit of the attack that triggered the reaction. Lisa's normal attack is a 1U attack, so when it triggers a superconduct reaction, it reduces our aura by 1 gauge unit.
Okay.
The remaining amount continues to decay on its own until the aura is depleted. Beidou's skill is a 2U attack. Since this is greater than the aura gauge units we started with, this superconduct reaction consumes the entire aura. If you're familiar with card games or most other games that use spells, one way I like to think of it is that the elemental aura is like a resource or mana bar. Every time we want to trigger a reaction, we need to spend some of that mana. Just like how different spells can cost different amounts of mana, each reaction also has its own reaction cost. The reaction cost, also known as a reaction coefficient, is a factor that multiplies how much aura is consumed when you trigger a reaction. I use
This is so interesting to me, because you know what this essentially means? This is what allows every team to exist in Genshin. And until they until they change this, no wonder Pyro Mel isn't good, because there's just too much pyro. Like there's not enough cryo. There's just not enough cryo to match how quickly pyro just fucks over your auras, right? And apparently this is the same for Hydro Vaporize, which is interesting to me. Like, I never even heard about that, but I guess Hydro Vaporize people have Xiangling, so it's not a big deal. Yeah, I mean that's kind of crazy to me. Yeah.
Superconduct in all the examples I've shown so far because it happens to have a reaction cost factor of 1. This means that the number of gauge units consumed by a superconduct reaction is just equal to the gauge units of the triggering attack itself. But if we instead look at pyro melt, for example, sometimes known as a forward melt, its reaction cost factor is 2. This means the number of gauge units consumed is 2 times the gauge units of the attack that triggered it. Yanfei's normal attack is a 1U attack, which normally applies or consumes 1 gauge unit of pyro. But because of the reaction cost factor of melt, her normal attack ends up consuming 2 gauge units and completely depletes the cryo aura.
That's
The
bad.
reverse melt, on the other hand, has a reaction cost factor of 0.5. This means triggering melt with a cryo attack only consumes half the gauge units of that attack. Eula's skill is also a 1U attack, but since we're using it to trigger a reverse melt, we only consume 0.5 gauge units of our aura. This leaves plenty of that pyro aura for potentially another reaction.
Wait, so would a cryo DPS, like, I don't know, Ayaka or something? I don't know how many cryo DPSs we have, but would they want to have pyro units like Bennett or Xiangling or something for, I guess, reverse melt? Sounds interesting.
Of course, a forward melt has a higher damage multiplier than a reverse melt, but being able to leave some of that aura for another reaction can be a worthwhile trade-off.
Rio does? Oh, that's cool.
This big difference in cost between a reverse melt and a forward melt is actually one of the reasons why most melt teams use a cryo damage dealer with a pyro aura applier, instead of the other way around. Even though a forward melt would deal more damage, the high cost factor of these reactions usually ends up consuming the entirety of our aura bar. This means if we want to trigger another
Ayaka
forward
can
melt
do
reaction,
melt.
we need to quickly reapply a cryo aura on the enemy.
Ayaka can do melt, but her burst pushes smaller enemies out of its attack range really fast if she doesn't have freeze or venti burst. So that's why you always see her like freeze the enemies first, because her burst does like a ton of damage, right? Yeah, that's maybe the reason why. Ayaka melt teams, from what I understand, aren't worth the hassle. Maybe because of the nature of her kit. What about Ganyu? Does Ganyu like someone that can apply a lot of pyro, and then she can flick you with her big charge attacks? Ganyu can do a burning melt comp. So like what? Dendro, Pyro, Ganyu, who else? Not all the hits can melt. Oh, okay. Is that you? Cryo is like the most stipulated element in the game, it kind of feels like. Am I wrong about that? This was something about cryo feels off. I don't know. Like, I don't know. Cryo and physical and cryo dendro cores and cryo, but pyro exists, and I don't know, man. It's kind of weird.
And if you're already familiar with the concept of ICD, you'll know that reapplying an element quickly isn't always easy to do.
Yeah.
On the other hand, if we stick with just reverse melt reactions, it's much easier to maintain the pyro aura on the enemy because this reaction is much cheaper and doesn't consume nearly as much of our aura. Since both Kaya and Rosaria's bursts are 1U attacks, even if one of them triggers a melt, it only consumes 0.5 gauge units, and we still have enough pyro aura left over for the other one to trigger another melt. Here's another example with Bennett and Chongyun. Bennett's burst applies a 2-unit pyro aura on the enemy, and Chongyun's burst, which doesn't have an ICD, is a 1U attack that hits 3 times. Each hit of his burst only consumes 0.5 gauge units when it triggers melt, so even after the first hit triggers a melt reaction, we still have plenty of pyro aura remaining for the following hits to trigger their own melt reactions. The same philosophy applies to Vaporize as well. This is why you typically see a pyro damage dealer and a hydro aura applier in teams like National and Hu Tao. The relatively cheap cost of reverse vaporize reactions is actually an important factor in allowing Hu Tao teams to function properly. Since Hu Tao is a melee character, she's forced to use a normal attack before each charged attack. This normal attack does trigger vaporize and steal.
Oh, wait. Yeah, this is why charge attacks not having ICD is important, huh? Yeah.
Steals some of our Hydro Aura. But since it is a reverse vaporize, it only consumes a small amount of gauge units, and we still have enough Hydro Aura left over for her charged attack to trigger another vaporize. Of course, ICD plays a big role in deciding which element is better suited for the aura, since we ultimately need the aura element to be applied as frequently as possible. But like we just saw, elemental gauge theory, and specifically reaction cost, is also a major factor in making these teams work, and also making them more forgiving.
I love purposeful design.
As complicated as elemental gauge theory is, I'm hoping that being able to visualize the elemental aura and the gauge unit consumption helps to make these concepts feel less abstract. You might be surprised to hear, though, that the game actually does have a visual representation of elemental aura.
You know what's funny, actually? Like, now I'm starting to get Xiangling a little bit more. And, like, what the problem is. Okay, yeah, okay.
It appears in the form of elemental shields. An elemental shield can just as well be thought of as an elemental aura, and now we can apply everything we've learned up to this point to shield breaking as well. Let's take this Hydro Abyss Mage for example. First, I use a 2U Pyro attack. This triggers a reverse vaporize, which has a reaction cost factor of 0.5, which means we consume 1 gauge unit of the Hydro Aura, which in this case is just a Hydro Shield. Next, I use a 2U Cryo attack. Freeze has a reaction cost factor of 1, so this consumes 2 gauge units from the Hydro Shield. Finally, I use a 1U Dendro attack. A Dendro Bloom reaction has a cost factor of 2, which means this one also consumes 2 gauge units off of the shield. This is a good place to mention that the elemental shields used by Fatui skirmishers, sometimes referred to as elemental armor, have their own set of reaction costs, and they are quite different from the ones we've been using so far.
It's only superconduct
so
for them?
If you ever notice that their shield weaknesses are slightly different from most other shields, this is the reason why. Putting this difference aside, you'll notice that all the concepts we've been learning about so far all behave in exactly the same way even when we apply them to shield breaking. The great thing about understanding elemental gauge theory is that it can be applied not only to the reactions that you create within your own team, but really anywhere else within the game. And on the topic of open world interactions, let's talk about Frozen next. Frozen follows the same concepts that we've learned so far.
I think that Frozen team that I saw with Kale and Barbara and Kaya was so cool to me. I thought that was awesome.
But one other aspect of it that's related to gauge units is how long the freeze lasts. The exact formula for calculating the freeze duration is a little complicated, but the main thing to take away...
Let me hold on real quick. I need to go to the bathroom. I'm feeling it. Okay, I don't actually need to go to the bathroom, but I want salsa. I'm gonna grab it real quick. Give me a moment. I'm back. Okay. Go to this. Start this. Where the fuck is it? Artifacts. Nintendo Music. Gay porn. Okay.
Is that duration is proportional. And on the topic of open world interactions, let's talk about Frozen next.
Okay.
Frozen follows the same concepts that we've learned so far, but one other aspect of it that's related to gauge units is how long the freeze lasts. The exact formula for calculating the freeze duration is a little complicated, but the main thing to take away is that duration is proportional to the lesser of the two gauges that were used to trigger Frozen. For example, here I'm using a 2U Cryo Aura and a 1U Hydro trigger.
You look more tanned. Thanks, my mom.
Between these two, the 1U Hydro attack has fewer gauge units, so the freeze duration is calculated based on that. In this example, I'm using a 1U Cryo Aura, and if we remember to account for the aura attacks, it actually only applies 0.8 gauge units of Cryo. When we trigger Frozen with a 1U Hydro attack again, this time the Cryo Aura has fewer gauge units, so the freeze duration is calculated using that amount. When we apply this to freezing bodies of water, you can consider water as having an infinite Hydro Aura. So the cryo attack that triggers the freeze reaction will always be the lesser of the two gauges, and the freeze duration will be purely based on that. A fun fact that's related to this is that Kaya's skill is normally a 2U cryo attack, but when it's used against water, it becomes a 4U cryo attack.
Isn't that cool? Because he's a starting character. Isn't that neat?
Resulting in a super long 9-second freeze. So if you ever wondered why Kaya's ice bridges last so much longer than everyone else's, this is the reason why. Where elemental gauge theory starts to get really interesting is when a target is afflicted with multiple auras at the same time. While this isn't typical for most reactions and elements, it can happen with electrocharged, burning, and quicken. Let's start by looking at
Okay, so this. Okay, learn about this. We'll learn about this, and then I got a Chlorinde team comp idea. Or if you saw it in Discord earlier, this is where I got it from.
Happen with electrocharged, burning, and quicken. Let's start by looking at electrocharge first. Instead of consuming the aura all at once, electrocharge allows both electro and hydro to coexist as auras at the same time. While both elements' auras are still up, electrocharge deals 1 tick of damage per second and consumes 0.4 gauge units off of both auras with each tick. After either one of the auras is depleted, electrocharge stops ticking. While this isn't exactly the strongest reaction in terms of damage, the fact that it allows both auras to exist simultaneously has a significant implication. When a third triggering element is introduced, that element can react with both electro and hydro to trigger 2 reactions at once.
I think that's so cool.
This is a very powerful mechanic. This is what enables the double swirls that Taser teams are often known for, and it's also the main driving force behind the Raiden national team. Raiden and Xingqiu respectively apply electro and hydro very frequently, which allows us to maintain the electrocharge reaction on the enemy most of the time. When Xiangling's Pyronado comes around, it reacts with both auras to trigger Overloaded and Vaporize.
Can't I do this with Can't I do that with Clorind? I think it was Clorind, Xingqiu, or Yelan. It was Yella. Yelan, Xingqiu. Um, I needed an Electro. Yep, there's my Hydro. So there's Electro Charge, and then I need Pyro, so that I can do something like Bennett, and then I could finish it out with a Zhongli or something. That sounds interesting. I mean, not necessarily being her best team or anything, but I think if I'm trying to like, I don't know, like find two teams, and I'm just going through my options. That seems like it's like something I could probably run.
When we add an Electro character to the standard national team, you would think it would create a kind of dilemma where the Electro steals some of Xiangling's reactions and we have to choose between Overloaded and Vaporize. But instead, this special double aura behavior allows us to keep those strong Vaporize reactions while also getting Overloaded reactions basically at no added cost. And this doesn't even account for the extra damage we get from Raiden's on-field damage.
Is this all making sense? I think this person did a really, really good job explaining this. Like now I get it. Now, I'm not sure how it all interacts all at once, but I think the concepts all make sense. I think the person did a really, really good job of vaping it down. Like the mana bar or whatever, or like the time bar or whatever, makes a lot of sense. I guess it makes me think like, well, man, like how do you know what moves have how much gauge, you know? And how do you like can you make your own team comps? Can you make your own team comps if you like know this information, and you can maybe figure out exactly like what would work or what wouldn't work based on what you know about like, you know, how elements react with each other.
Next, let's talk about burning. When burning is triggered, it doesn't immediately consume the aura element, but instead causes the Dendro aura to decay at 0.4 gauge units per second, similar to how Electrocharged works. On top of that, it also generates a new aura, which is known as the burning aura. You'll notice that this new burning aura looks similar to the pyro icon, and it does behave similarly to a pyro aura. You can trigger most pyro reactions against it, such as Vaporize or Overloaded. But what's more interesting is that the original Dendro aura that was used to trigger burning is actually still there, and it's hiding under the burning aura. If you can completely consume the burning aura before this underlying Dendro aura expires, you can actually resurface this Dendro aura to reuse it for another reaction. This property where the Dendro aura survives during a burning reaction is a key mechanic that enables a lot of Burgeon teams, especially ones that use a fast Hydro applier such as Ayato or Xingqiu. Burgeon teams often find themselves in situations where they accidentally trigger burning instead of bloom, which is the reaction that you actually want. But if I
have a question. I love Yelan, you know that. I'm gonna get her anyway. But why would you want Yelan over Xingqiu in terms of Hydro application? It has to do something with her fucking whatever passive or something. I don't know what she provides, but it has to be really competitive with Xingqiu. Otherwise she wouldn't be everywhere, right? Because I'm like, don't they similarly apply a lot of Hydro? I guess I'll figure it out one day. I'll get there. It's got to be something with her passives. I don't know what it is, because I'm like, why would they want another character that just does what Xingqiu does? I don't know.
Xingqiu's skill in this situation, the first hit triggers a Vaporize reaction, which consumes the burning aura completely and exposes that Dendro aura underneath it. The second hit of Xingqiu's skill reacts with this Dendro aura that's now exposed and triggers a Bloom reaction. Even though this Dendro aura was originally stolen from us by this burning reaction, we were actually able to get a refund on it and still trigger Bloom, while also amplifying our Hydro damage in the process. And this is thanks to the fact that the Dendro aura is conserved even while the burning reaction is ticking, which allows us to reuse that aura as long as our Hydro application is quick enough. And finally, we have Quicken.
Yeah,
Quicken
right
does
there.
have a reaction cost and consumes the aura element normally like most other reactions do. But it also generates a new aura, which is the Quicken aura. Just like how the burning aura takes on the form of a pyro icon, the Quicken aura appears as a Dendro icon, and as expected, it can trigger most Dendro reactions. The only exception is that it can't trigger another Quicken reaction. As most of you probably know, applying Electro onto a Quicken aura instead triggers Aggravate. But what's more interesting is that when you do apply Electro onto a Quicken enemy, the Electro aura is allowed to coexist with the Quicken aura.
Okay.
Now we're in a situation that we've seen before, just like with Electrocharged. If we introduce a third triggering element, again, it can trigger a reaction
Electro
with
Charge
both
Bloom.
auras.
Yeah.
But this isn't always the case.
Or Overload.
Sometimes we
Burning?
only get a bloom reaction even though the Electro Aura is present. To find out why, let's take a closer look at our aura consumptions. We're using a 1U Hydro trigger, and it first reacts with our Quicken Aura to trigger Bloom. A Hydro Bloom has a reaction cost factor of 0.5, so we consume 0.5 gauge units from the Quicken Aura. The key here is that there is still some of the Quicken Aura remaining after this reaction happens. The Hydro trigger didn't have enough gauge units to overflow into the Electro Aura. If we compare this to our previous example, the Quicken Aura is a bit lower when the Bloom is triggered. Critically, it's under 0.5 gauge units. This means our 1U Hydro trigger is more than enough to deplete the Quicken Aura, and the rest of that Hydro trigger overflows into the Electro Aura to trigger Electro Charge too.
Oh.
Now this begs the question, why does Bloom get to trigger first, and Electro Charge only gets the leftovers of the Hydro trigger? This has to do with a concept known as simultaneous reaction priority. When a trigger element is applied to multiple coexisting auras, some of those auras have higher priority than others, and there's a predefined order in which those auras are consumed. If our trigger gauge is big enough to deplete the higher priority auras, then it can also react with the lower priority auras underneath it.
Okay.
In this case, the Quicken Aura has a higher priority than the Electro Aura. In the case of Electro Charge, the Electro Aura has a higher priority than the Hydro Aura.
Okay. So you're more likely to vaporize, or to overload than you are to vaporize. Okay.
And speaking of these two reactions, Hyperbloom teams take advantage of both the Quicken and Electro double aura, as well as the Electro Charge double aura. By quickly applying Electro, a lot of Hydro, and Dendro in this order, we continuously move between these three states while triggering Quicken and Bloom in the process. Because it bounces back and forth between these two double aura states, it can trigger a lot more reactions than most other teams who utilize only a single aura. As demonstrated by the sheer length of this video, elemental gauge theory is a very dense topic, and this is even after I left out a lot of the finer details and advanced concepts. Even if you don't understand all of its details, even getting a basic handle on elemental gauge theory can help you view the game through a more conscious lens. It's a concept that shows up literally anywhere in the game where reactions are involved. Although it may feel pretty daunting to learn at first, now that we've broken it down into its smaller core concepts and sprinkled in a few visual aids, I'm hoping that it feels a little more approachable now. Regardless of how much you learn from this video or where you choose to apply it, as always, thank you so much for watching.
What does Raiden do, by the way? Why is she important? Like what is that she does in particular? Is it just like a lot of Electro or what? Boost burst damage. Oh, wait. Her own burst damage or everyone's? Ew, wait, did she boost everyone's burst? What about Xiangling and Xingqiu? Oh! 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 Okay. Right, okay. I see. That's gross. Wait, then why Bennett? And not like Gilan or something? Oh, because, she's, okay, she scales on attack, okay. And, yeah, it's because, Xiangling would snapshot, huh? The buff. And also would, snapshot Bennett about, yeah, that makes sense, yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Xingqiu provides defense through his skill. Yeah, that makes sense. Mm. Okay. Okay, one more.
In my first video about element,
You can use Yulan to the Xingqiu, since Raiden has super armor throughout all of her burst state. Really? Like interruption resist? Really? That's broken. Why isn't Raiden like Nahida and Kazuha levels of and Farina levels of importance to pull? What is it that kind of holds her back compared to those guys? Because from what I'm understanding, Farina, Nahida, and Kazuha are like some of the like most must pull E type characters. Because she's Electro, not Anima or Dendro. She's not nearly as universal as them. Okay. Okay. What are you missing out by not having her? Like a good Electro character? I mean, oh no, because you'd have like Fischl and Beto. So what are you missing by not having her? ER burst damage. Okay. Burst damage sounds like a unique enough buff. Okay, that's cool. I like that. He might energy support. Okay. That's another thing too. What, this... So she acts like a Favonius weapon for your whole team? That's kind of cool. Interesting. Okay.
In my first video about elemental gauge theory, we covered most of the basic concepts and actually a lot of the more advanced ones too. This video can be considered a kind of supplement to that one and covers a few more examples and concepts that were left out. This video does assume that you already have a basic understanding of elemental gauge theory up to the point that is covered in that previous video. So if the whole concept of gauge theory is a new area for you, I definitely recommend watching that video first, or else this video is not going to make a whole lot of sense to you. We'll start by going over a couple more scenarios where you can have multiple auras coexisting with each other. And the first one has to do with the frozen reaction. Unlike the double auras that we've seen before, the requirements to set up a double aura with freeze are a lot more restrictive. Specifically, this happens when we start with a Hydro aura and then trigger a frozen reaction with a cryo attack that doesn't consume all of the Hydro aura.
Oh,
the result is that we get a new aura, which is the freeze aura, and the remaining Hydro aura coexists alongside it. When we apply Animo to this double aura state, we get both a Hydro and Cryo swirl, which can be useful for amplifying both Hydro and Cryo damage on freeze teams. In practice though, this doesn't happen too often in combat unless you're specifically setting up for it, simply because there aren't that many sources of 2U Hydro attacks. So most of the time when you trigger a Cryo freeze, you end up consuming the entire Hydro aura and you rarely see this double aura situation. And what's more is that this double swirl is the only thing we can get out of this setup. If we apply Electro in this double aura state, we only get Superconduct. We don't get to trigger Electro charged against this Hydro aura. And if we apply Pyro, we only get Melt. We don't get to trigger both Melt and Vaporize, which would actually be kind of insane. So while it is possible to get a Hydro Freeze double aura, the only meaningful purpose it serves is for the double swirl, which is still a great reaction. But again, it's not something that occurs naturally in combat unless you're specifically incorporating it into your rotation.
Chev.
And this is part of the reason why I left it out in the first place.
Wait.
The other double aura that I want to talk about is the Cryo Dendro double aura. This one isn't caused by a reaction or requires some tricky setup, and it's actually just a natural byproduct of the fact that Dendro and Cryo simply don't have any reactions with each other. Now this double aura is a bit more useful in my opinion. It can trigger any combination of reactions that either of the individual auras can trigger. This means we can get a Melt Burning reaction, a Superconduct Quicken reaction, and finally a Freeze Bloom reaction. This last one is generally considered the most useful of the three possible combinations, and this has a lot to do with the simultaneous reaction priority of these two auras. The Cryo aura will always be consumed before the Dendro aura.
Okay.
Recall that Frozen has a reaction cost factor of 1, so every gauge unit of Hydro that we apply consumes the same number of gauge units from our Cryo aura. Now consider this double aura state where we have just under 1 gauge unit of our Cryo aura when we apply 1 gauge unit of Hydro. Most of those Hydro gauge units will go to consuming the Cryo aura, and only a small remainder of it will overflow to trigger a Bloom reaction with the Dendro aura. And what's more is that a Hydro Bloom has a reaction cost factor of 0.5, which means that only a tiny amount of the Dendro aura is consumed during this reaction. So it's kind of like the Cryo Aura absorbed most of that Hydro application, which allowed us to get a Dendro Core for a really good price. And now we have most of our Dendro Aura remaining to trigger more Bloom reactions. On top of that, we also got a Frozen reaction from that Cryo Aura, which also comes with its own benefits. Our entire team gets a crit rate buff against frozen enemies if we have at least 2 Cryo characters in our party, and being able to immobilize our enemies.
Is that relevant? Double cryo resonance? Like, do people build around that?
Enemies if we have at least 2 Cryo characters in our party, and being able to immobilize our enemies is a huge advantage in itself. So this is really a true double aura in the sense that both auras can be used for their intended purpose without getting in each other's way. And if anything, the Cryo Aura actually helps to trigger more Bloom reactions. This interaction gave rise to a family of team comps known as Fridge teams. These team comps take advantage of this double aura by both freezing enemies and getting extra damage from Bloom reactions. Understanding the gauge mechanics that drive this team also helps to make sense of its name. The Cryo Aura behaves kind of like a fridge that offers a protective layer and allows our vegetables, or our Dendro Aura, to last a little bit longer. This mechanic is also the reason why you sometimes see Cryo characters in the flex slot of some Hyper Bloom teams.
So, Nahida, Xingqiu, Kuki, Kaya.
Adding Cryo to the mix allows you to freeze your enemies occasionally without interrupting or taking away from the core damage dealing reaction, which are of course Blooms and Hyper Blooms. Next, let's talk about self auras. Like the name suggests, these are auras that we apply on ourselves or enemies apply on themselves. For most enemies, these appear in the form of elemental shields or a permanent innate aura, like in the case of hypostases or some slimes. For us, there are certain abilities that can be used to apply an element on ourselves. For example, Barbara's skill periodically applies Hydro onto the active character. The main difference between these and regular auras is their decay rate. A lot of enemy shields or innate auras are permanent and don't decay at all. On the other hand, most self auras that—
Can I be honest with you? Can I be honest with you? I am... It sucks because I find myself like, when I stop streaming Genshin, I find myself I give myself like a 5 or 10 minute break. And then, like, you know, I play a little bit more or whatever. It sucks because I'm just like, man, what the fuck? Why am I so tired? Girl, I've been streaming for 8 hours! I didn't even know! It didn't even feel like 8 hours. Yeah, I didn't really expect Fire Emblem to take that fucking long. I really didn't. I honestly am not happy that it did because I think that kind of like fucked. That kind of fucked me a bit. No, I thought it was I thought chapter 28 or 26 was like the last chapter of any Fire Emblem game, right? That's what I thought, but I guess not. Oh, man. I know what to do. I know what to do. I think I should stop for now. If you're in the Discord, like, I'd love to elite farm before I head out. So, if you'd like to head in there for that with me, that'd be fantastic. But I think I'm getting energied out, unfortunately, and I'm gonna have to be up for tomorrow because I have a flight to not catch, but a flight that I have to help somebody catch on Sunday. So I gotta make sure that I like get my tomorrow situated. So that's gonna be fun. But I will have a dedicated Genshin stream next time. I'm so sorry. I feel like, well, no, because now I got energy back. No, I don't like this. This has happened multiple times. This happens multiple times where like I fade in and out. It's weird. When it comes to this game in particular, no, it's weird. I don't know. It's the music. It has to be the music. No. It's the music. Did you see that? The music was fucking low key, and it was the music. And then I got into the combat and I suddenly got energy. It's the music. I knew it. I knew it was the music. I told you this music is like fucking it's like a lullaby. It's crazy. Oh no way. Oh no way, that's what it is. That's why Genshin's gonna put you to sleep. Maybe you need a voiced quest? Probably. No, I don't. No, I don't actually. Because if it's somebody boring, I'm gonna die. Although I did unlock a bunch of story quests. So I unlocked Yai's, Zhao's, and Dia's. Is anyone else that's particularly important? Right. Yeah, look, I got my energy back. That's so weird. Okay, now where am I going? Learn more about Child. Well, that would require getting Sing Cho out of his permanent stasis. Yeah, poor Sing Cho's stuck. What in the... Wait a minute. That's a black man. Where are the rest? That... Huh? The... Can I have one more, maybe? Anyway. Rubbish. Anyway.
That we apply on ourselves decay much more quickly than regular auras, most of them lasting only a couple seconds at most. But aside, finally, let's talk about aura decay rates. A 1U aura lasts for about 9.5 seconds.
This is insane to me.
A 2U aura, while it does apply twice as many gauge units, does not last twice as long. Instead, it decays at a faster rate and lasts for 12 seconds, which is only a little bit longer than the 1U aura. One mechanic that's related to this is decay rate inheritance. This is a phenomenon that occurs when a higher gauge unit aura is applied on top of a lower gauge unit aura. That resulting aura has the same amount of gauge units as expected, but it decays at
Wait, did you hear Lisa? Wait a minute. Okay.
the rate of the original aura that was there before it. In this example, we're applying a 2U aura, but since it was applied on an enemy that originally had a 1U aura, this 2U aura decays much more slowly and lasts exactly twice as long as a 1U aura does. We can extend this to an even more extreme case using Beidou's 4U aura. A 4U aura normally lasts for 17 seconds, but if we apply it on an enemy that first had a 1U aura, the 4U aura inherits the decay rate of that 1U aura, allowing it to last for 38 seconds.
1 second.
전기맛 좀 볼래? 도망치지 말라고. 전기맛 좀 볼래? 블리치. 전기 맛 좀 볼래? 도망치지 말라고. 블리츠. 이건 벌이야. 찌릿찌릿할 거야. 어서 항복하는 게 어때? 푹 빠지면 안 돼. 제법이네. 좀 실력이 무뎌졌네. 이런 장갑이 구멍나겠어. 외출은 힘들어. 내가 방심한 것 같아. 역시 밖으로 나오는 게 아니었어.
What was that laugh? I want to hear it. What was that? At?
ちょっとビリビリさせないとね。逃がさないわよ。うがちなさい。これはお仕置きよ。
Oh my fucking god!
これは
Oh
お仕置き
my
よ。
god!
しびれさせちゃうわよ。早く投稿しなさい。やみつきにならないでね。やるじゃないの。ちょっと腕がなまったわね。あら、手袋が破けちゃったわ。我慢は良くないわよ。お姉さんが手伝ってあげようか。外に出ると疲れちゃう。油断しちゃったみたいね。やっぱり外に出るべきじゃなかったわね。そんな乱暴はやめて。
Wait, she's taking it. Hold on, wait. Oh, okay, wait. Hold on. Maybe I don't need Chlorand, actually. I'm good. Maybe I don't need Chlorand, actually, now that I think about it. I should just be happy with what I have, right?
该垫一垫了，别逃哟。Please,
Please!
please，
Wait!
这是惩罚哦。酥酥麻麻的哟，快点投降吧，可别上瘾哦。有你的嘛，有点生疏了呀。哎呀，手套要破了呢，逞强可不好。要姐姐帮忙吗？唉，出门好累，看来我大意了呢，果然不该出门的。
I gotta love her. Please!
别逃哟
Where is it at?
，please。
Please! I love it! You're in for the little shock.
You're in for a little shock. Come a little closer. Blitz. You've been a naughty boy.
Okay, wait. Do I really need Kooky for a Hyperboom trigger? This seems consistent enough, right? Okay, I can hit those cores. Wait, hold on, wait. Let me hit those cores. Yeah, those cores are mine.
You're in for a little shock. Come a little closer.
She could be the trigger. Why don't I trigger some aggravate and call it a day, huh?
You're in for a little shock. Come a little closer.
Wait, actually, now that I think about it.
Don't fear.
Yeah, was here.
All right, let's head off.
Also, Chlorand, what artifact set am I gonna have to farm? Can I just use gladiator pieces and call it a day or something? Cause again, like I'm still in my, do I want to artifact farm anymore era? Like until I'm fully done, because I cannot believe how much resin I've spent doing it when I could have had hundreds of resin towards actually building the things that I need for other characters, and it feels like shit. So I'm like, yeah, do I have to farm any more things? Because I'm like, I don't want to do that right now. I just do not have the resources.
Come a little closer.
Thundering Fury? I don't know if she gets too much off of it. Because her skills should just be used every time she gets like 3 normals off, right? So it's more contingent on her normals than it is on her on her skill. If she could probably run 2-piece Thundering Fury and like something else, maybe attack percent or something. Yeah, I could probably do that. You didn't sign up for that Genshin creator program, right? No, should I? If you do, you will have to never talk about leaks. Oh, like ever? Wait, how is it leaks if it's PBE? Aren't they nerfing and buffing characters or something? How's it leaks?
You're in for a little shock.
Stay put.
One with nature.
They're from a oh, so the people in the closed beta shouldn't be talking about it. Right. Is that what's going on? Oh, okay. So it's kind of like an NDA, but yeah. That's why we talk about dreamers and bakers. Huh. Special programs? What? Are you guys excited for the next patch, by the way? Like, how are we feeling post Arlecchino? Because we have 10 days left, and it's so interesting because I'm like, man, like, I'm ready to move on. I want to see what's going on, like, after this Baiju Wanderer situation. I'm like, I need to see what the hell is up, and I also need to see, is Faruzan coming back on this banner? Because it'll suck if she does. The characters know, but the content, yeah. Yeah, me too. What about, well, no, because I guess neither of those weapons are pretty good, are they? Oh, well. Faruzan is mostly coming back with Wanderer. Most likely coming back with Wanderer, because they normally get attached to the hip. You haven't even done Fontaine. Fontaine isn't even that good. I'm gonna be honest. Like, I'm not even that good. It can't be that good. It can't be that good. Can it? I can already tell what's gonna happen. I already know the plot. I'm gonna go to Fontaine, I'm gonna be arrested because I don't have a license, and then I'm gonna go to jail, and then Risley's gonna be the oh no, I'm gonna be arrested by Chevras and Clorind, and then I get taken into the clink, and then Sedgewind gives me a checkup, and then the warden is Risley, yeah, and then I go to trial in front of Nubilet and Farina, and okay, but trials are different in Fontaine, and the bitches here, the Hearthstone 3 or the fucking House of Hearth is actually the lawyer. It's the law. And so it's like Phoenix Wright, but you perform the law in front of Farina and Nubilet, and then they give you judgment, right? And that's why she's like brilliant. And it's if it's justice, it has to be performative justice, just like America. Okay. And then, right when everything's about to happen, the Futui bust in, and we got a call for backup. So we get Navia and her goons to fight the Fatui, and because we got to put the trial on hold, we got to join forces to stop with the Fatui. And so it turns out that Arlecchino is behind everything and is the reason why the mechas all over Fontaine and outside of Fontaine are evil, because the Fatui has infiltrated the technology, okay? And then so Charlotte takes pictures of everything on the news, and and Chiori helps me escape. Chiori lets me hide out in her beauty parlor, which is where Navia's gang is hosted. So we hang out there until Furina comes in through the back entrance, and she's like, we need to talk. So Furina and Navia join forces with me to stop the Fatui invasion. Nouvelet isn't gonna help because he's still like, he doesn't like us right now because he still thinks we're guilty. And then Risley and the House of Hearth, Clorind, and all my friends help me in the fight against Arlecchino and her goons. And then afterwards, we go to the floating squares in the sky to figure out what research that they were researching that the Fatui got the hold of. And then once we do that, we figure it out. And then right at the end of everything, Furina, what did she do? Furina calls upon the power of Hydro to wash away all threats in Fontaine, but in doing so, she endangers the city. So the city floods. The city floods, and as such, Farina goes to jail. It goes to court with Nouvelet, and then receives judgment. I already know the whole plot. Was I close? Was I close? Okay. It can't be removed in this manner, huh? Well, no. Okay. Without telling me what exactly. Were there parts of that were abstractly close?
Time to go.
Yes? Okay. Mostly because you've seen the characters already. I'm gonna be honest with you. I literally just inferred half of that from their burst animations. And their voice lines.
LSR love, hope you are well.
Thank you so much, Greta, for the 54. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. It's good to see you. So, like when Risley was talking about, like, don't break the law, I can infer he's a cop.
Surrender and be gentle. You're in for a little shock. You've been a naughty boy. My.
Oh.
Come a little closer. What do you think, cutie?
What do you think, cutie? I've got to find a way to use Lisa, Clorinde, and Yolande on the same team. Risley just so happens to be my man. Hello? Wait, what? Are we just sharing men here? Well, then what the fuck am I supposed to do? Attach the room mechanism out.
Wind Strider.
Okay.
Who says there aren't benefits to a life of wonder? Into the wind. As one with wind and cloud. One with nature.
Why'd I do that? Oh, nice. Nice.
Come a little closer.
It's almost been 9 hours. I can't. I can't do it! I can't! Farmleets with me. Quick! Before I die! Help! Will somebody farm elites with me instead of playing Overwatch?
You're in.
Oh,
for
I
a
especially need
little
these
shock.
fucking specters. Holy shit. Unable to join. Oh shit. Let's play Overwatch. Oh shit. Alright, per. Okay, so Cosmo apparently brings Scott joy when I play him. So I'm not gonna play him. And play Bennett instead. Let's light it up! Oh my god. Let's light it up! Alright. But what do I do? Where am I going? I keep fucking this up. Oh, it's over here. Ooh. Well, now, why could I tell that it wasn't going to be Lisa? Your Electro option. Wait, Bennett's saying he sounds like he's having so much fun. Oh my god. Yeah, what does this stupid sigil do? Yeah, what does Raiden's sigil do, and why does it last 10 years? Oh wait, oops. Oh, we're going here. We're doing the fast route today. Well, what did it do? I don't... Oh my god. I can't pick a language. I don't know. I like. I kind of just want to hear them all simultaneously. And also, we need more Electro. I'm here to help. Oh my god, Pistol's voice. Fischl? Fischl? Yeah! Woo! Yeah! Wait. Okay, she's giving me Wii Fit. Okay, hold on. Wait. This might be the move. Hold on. It might be the move. It might be the move. It might be the move. It might be. Hold on. Yeah! Yeah! Huh. Yeah! Huh! Huh! Yeah! Huh! Huh!
어둠을 갈망하거라.
Huh!
또 시작이시군.
영원히 빛나는. 체력의 날개여. 낮과 밤을 가르거라. 지금 정멸의 시간.
Choo! Where is wait? I'm sorry. What is going on? What?
아가씨의 뜻대로.
Oh my god.
체력의 날개여. 낮과 밤을 가르거라.
This sucks. And I'm gonna swap in like 2 seconds, but like.
나와라 우주.
Okay, today I just learned that you can hold the R button to stay locked on. You don't have to keep on going out. Today I learned. Okay, that was very fun. I'm switching to Lisa. I love that. Okay, back to this. Alright, down here. I need help.
푹 빠지면 안 돼. 도망치지 말라고. 좋아. 도망치지 말라고. 전기 맛 좀 볼래? 도망치지 말라고. 이건 버려.
Oh wait, that kind of feels good. Wait, hold on.
전기 맛 좀 볼래? 전기 맛 좀 볼래? 도망치지 말라고. 어서 항복한데 순순히 항복해.
Oh my god. Oh my god. I need healing.
도망치지 말라고.
Oh my god, please. I can use some healing.
I could use some healing.
Where is it? Where's the healing? I could use some healing.
최후 통첩이다. I could use some healing. I could use some healing.
Okay. Do I look like Anna? Yes?
좋아. 전기 맛 좀 볼래?
걱정 마.
Thank you.
전기 맛 좀 볼래? 계속해. 이건 무력다. 푹 빠지면 안 돼. 전기 맛 좀 볼래? 블리츠.
Well, I mean, I just don't think like standing there is really an effective way of healing. I think you have to press buttons.
도망치지 말라고. 전기 맛 좀 볼래? 이건 버리야. 찌릿찌릿할 거야.
We need a nano boost in Genshin. Bennett.
도망치지 말라고. 도망치지 말라고. 전기 맛 좀 볼래? 도망치지 말라고.
걱정 마.
좋아. 아파. 전기 맛 좀 볼래? 전기 맛 좀 볼래? 역시 밖으로 나오는 게 아니었어. I could use some healing.
That's it. You know who would have healed me there? Barbara. Ta-da!
아파. 봐봐라, 깜짝 등장. 치료는 제게 맡기세요. 실망시켜드리지 않을 거예요.
Sorry, we gotta advise you. No, no, I don't want to see him, okay? Ta-da! Okay. Oh.
내가 방심한 것 같아.
I could use some healing. 좋아. 외출. I could use some healing. I could use some healing. I could use some healing. 전기맛 좀 볼래?
힘내세요.
도망치지 말라고. 전기맛 좀 볼래?
신해 가호. 공연 시작.
Listen, I just appreciate the lesson on elemental gauge theory. I love this team comp. Thank you so much. I love this. I really do feel like we might have enough healing. Maybe through this comp. I'm not sure.
빠지면 안
맛좀 볼래? 블리츠. 도망치지 말라고. 도망치지 말라고.
어딜
어서
도망가?
행복한 게 어때? 전투 맛좀 볼래?
Oh god. You're not funny, okay? You've got no artifacts on your Barbara. Crazy how much she's healing more than Kokomi.
도망치지 말라고. 전투 맛좀 볼래?
시작하지.
그렇지. 전기 맛좀 볼래? 도망치지 말라고. 전기 맛좀 볼래? 도망치지 말라고. 블리츠.
어딜 도망가?
걱정 마.
Okay, that was really good. Wait, are we going? Who died? Who died? My Coco healing is fine. I can tell, Scott. Thank you so much. I'm glad somebody cares about fulfilling their roles here, but you know.
行きましょう。しびれさせたのにちょっとビリビリさせないとね。しびれな逃がさないよ。
寒いから気をつけろよ。
それ。それ。ちょっとビリビリさせないとね。逃がさないだろ。ちょっとビリビリさせないとね。
Did you know that you overall lowered the team DPS by typing? And I think there's one remedy for that that you could look into. Do you want to know what it is?
ちょっとビリビリさせないとね。逃がさないわよ。
Let me see your eye. Wait. I need help. This game is so fucking funny. Wait, this is mine. Wait, this one.
ちょっとビリビリさせないとね。逃がさ、そんな乱暴はやめ。ちょっとビリビリさせないとね。あれくらいなさい。それ。
寒いから気をつけろよ。
ちょっとビリビリさせないとね。逃がさないわよ。ちょっとビリビリさせないとね。これがお仕置き。それ、しびれなさい。逃がさないわよ。
It's just so good. Like I really can't. Oh my god.
You're in for a little shock. Surrender and be gentle. Come a little closer. Come a little closer. You're in for a little shot. Come a little closer. Come a little closer. You're in for a little shot.
Stay cool and face your guilt.
Stay cool and face your guilt. I knew I was gonna go to jail. They need to stop spoiling Fontaine through these bursts, like in these voice lines. I honestly think it's crazy. Like, it's really elementary. I really don't get it.
Come a little closer. Come a little closer. You're in for a little shock.
Step back.
I knew I should have stayed home.
I could use some healing.
I think this is why I play the healer role, honestly.
You're in for a little shock. You've been a naughty boy.
Stay put.
Come a little closer. You're in for a little shock.
What the fuck? Oh, okay.
Surrender and be gentle.
Step back.
Blitz.
Stay put.
Going out is tiring.
I could use some healing.
You're playing one of the lowest defense units in the entire game.
Perfect weather for sipping a cup of tea while gazing out the window.
Avi, I don't think you know much about Lisa, so I would stay in my own lane, personally, until I did a little bit more research. But that's just me. That's just me personally, I don't know.
You're in for a little shock. You're in for a little shock. Come a
I had
little
C2
closer.
first. Did you read it?
You're in for a little shock. Come a little closer.
Use a split.
Come a little. Let's spot things up a little.
Fellow warfare, I guess.
You're in for a little shock.
One of these days, I'm gonna have, like, the number 2 Lisa in the world.
Come a little closer. You're in for a little shock. Try not to enjoy this too much. Come a little closer.
Leave it to the president. Fellow warfare, I guess.
Come a little closer. Come a little closer. You're in for a little shock. Come a little closer. You're in for a little shock.
Where am I going? Oh.
Try not to enjoy this too much. You're in for a little shock. Come a little closer. Come a little closer. You're in for a little shock. You've been a naughty boy. I knew I should have stayed
I could use some
home.
healing.
Oh, we don't have any healers anymore. Oops.
Perfect weather for sipping a cup of tea while gazing out the window.
Let's nip that in the bud.
Closer. You're in for a little shock. Come a little closer. Let's spark things up a little.
What did he say? Nip that in the bud? Oh my god.
Surrendering will be gentle. You're in for a little shock. Come a little closer. You're in for a little shock. Blitz. Come a little closer. You're in for a little shock.
You're injured. Get to safety.
I'm not finished my research.
I could use some healing.
I gotta rescue Rue. On my way.
You're in for a little shock. Come a little closer. Come a little closer. You're in for a little shock. Come a little closer. You're in for a little shock. You're in for a little shock.
Okay. Let's get that last one. And then we'll call it.
Come a little closer. Let's spark things up a little. You're in for a little shock. Come a little closer. You're in for a little shock. You've been a naughty boy.
Watch this. Okay. Lisa! Is that... Who wants this? Oh. That's... There.
Stay put.
Anyone else? I'm gonna wish for the first great magic, and I'm gonna get like 30 eye perception.
Why not keep me company for a
what you
while?
can do today.
There'll be plenty of time for work
Let's
later.
get a move on.
Yeah, I'm gonna get like 6 Fibonius Warbows and like all of these suck ass, dude. How are y'all wishing on this? What in the fuck? It looks so shit. I just cannot believe this. Do they want people to wish on the banner or what? Like, Oh my god.
This wine tastes the same as I remember.
And Shroud!
But where?
This is order.
Today's no good for going out.
Yeah.
Did I say that yesterday as well?
Can't see?
Is that who I think it is? Is that?
Coming at ya! Hey there! Watch out!
I.
Hey there!
Excuse me, can I. Ladies, can I. Ladies, if you would, I just need to say something.
Closer.
I just need to say a couple of words.
Come a little closer.
I honestly really think that.
For a little shot.
Well, as soon as you're done with the dancing, I would love to. Right, okay, so thank you so much. Excuse me, buddy boy. Okay, well, maybe if we could. Okay, cool. So what I wanted to say was I really think that I would like to stream later today, but I don't think I can be. Okay, I want to stream later today, but I don't think I can. Because I'm gonna be a little busy, but I will definitely be back tomorrow, and I will dedicate more Genshin time there. Because what do I do now? Should I just keep farming EXP books? I'm afraid to farm something that's not EXP books. I'm already, like, I don't know, if I want to be ready for Clorinde, I'm gonna need, like, a lot of resources, and I'm afraid not to, like, I'm afraid to waste time, like, oh, that might waste time, hold on, everyone come here, I need help.
Don't waste my time.
Don't waste
Value
my
of
time.
knowledge.
No Aspire Princess? Fuck that game. Till Monday. I still need to figure out the logistics of it.
Skyward! Skyward!
Why is this Fontaine soundtrack this?
Skyward! Scatter! Make way for the adept. Vengeance will be mine.
You did think like a whale. Weapon banners are whale territory. I watched a video earlier today about.
More speed.
Let's nip that in the butt.
Seize the skies.
I watched a video earlier today about the weapon banner. It was actually kind of interesting. Wait, that'll be the last thing we watch, and then I'll go. I promise.
Don't waste my time.
More speed.
Scatter! Skyward! Make way for the adeptus. Your light.
I hear everything.
Give up. Seize the skies. Skyward.
I need this. I need books. Oh, and while we watch books, this anti-synergy. What do you mean? I love swirling Dendro, or I love swirling Dendro and Geo. Hello, that's my favorite. Oh, and Eula. I love swirling Cryo for physical, for Eula, Geo, and Dendro. It's my favorite thing.
Don't be afraid to make mistakes. It's all part of the learning process.
To help you maximize your Genshin account, this video will break down everything about the weapon banner, its unique pity system, expected 4 and 5 star rates, how much of an improvement weapons give relative to their cost, and more. By the end of this guide, you will be able to make a definitive conclusion on whether you should be wishing on the weapon banner or not. Soft Pity for the weapon banner begins on wish number 63, with each following wish increasing the odds of a 5-star by 7%. The odds of getting a 5-star before Soft Pity is approximately 35%.
35% is not bad. See, I knew something was up with my luck on the weapon banner. Like, yeah, okay. That makes more sense, okay.
5-star weapons obtained appear most frequently on wish 66. At a baseline, each rate of weapon has a 3 in 8 chance of appearing, and a random weapon has a 2 in 8 chance of appearing. Getting a random weapon means the next 5-star weapon you'll get will be one of the 2 rate-ups. The epitomized path's purpose is to guarantee that the selected 5-star weapon appears by the 3rd 5-star obtained at the latest. Effectively, it prevents you from missing a desired weapon more than twice in a row. Unfortunately, it resets between banners, unlike the guarantee from losing the 75-25, which carries over between banners.
It doesn't reset? Are you crazy? What the fuck is the point of wishing on the goddamn banner then if it takes it's gonna huh?
The epitomized path is not as important as it may seem. Without it, 2 and 5 weapons will be the desired rate up on average. Factoring it in, the rate increases to approximately 1 and 2. It's mainly there as a ploy to get players to continue wishing on the weapon banner due to sunk cost, so be mindful of this fallacy if you're on a Primogem. Knowing that it takes 2 5-stars until the desired one is obtained on average, a reasonable estimate for the number of wishes needed to obtain a 5-star weapon is 132. The true average is 106, but this only applies to players going for multiple copies of a weapon. If both rate-up weapons are desired, then you will spend 66 wishes on average.
Okay.
4-star Soft Pity for the weapon banner begins on wish number 8, going up to a 66% chance, then becoming guaranteed on wish number 9. It takes a bit less than 7 wishes on average per 4-star, however, just like the 5-stars, a rated up 4-star has a 75% chance of appearing, with the remaining 25% being a random character. As usual, getting an off rate up makes it so the next 4-star drop is one of the 5 on rate up. In total, 80% of all 4-star drops are the ones on rate up. Since all 5 have an equal chance of appearing, 16% of all 4-stars will be a specific rate up 4-star weapon. You can expect it to take 42 wishes on average per specific 4-star weapon. Committing to a specific 5-star weapon is expected to yield R3 of each rate up 4-star. Going for a single 5-star weapon is likely to yield R1 of each 4-star, which is an excellent segue into discussing the misplaced value of the weapon banner. When looking at the weapon banner, it's easy to focus on the 5-stars and mostly disregard the 4-stars. If you are someone looking to make their account stronger, or just have an easier time with the game, then overlooking 4-star weapons is a huge mistake. Additionally, most 5-star weapons tend to be overrated. Allow me to explain why. Let's imagine a Hu Tao double Hydro team, where Hu Tao is dealing 500,000 damage, and Xingqiu and Yilan also deal 500,000 damage, for a total of 1 million damage per rotation. Suppose that giving Hu Tao a Staff of Homo gives her a 25% boost to her damage overall, which is a somewhat generous assumption, but within reason. This would result in an increase to her personal damage to 625,000. But it would only increase the team's DPS by 12.5%. This percentage increase is still quite significant, of course. This example is just to show how a more selfish weapon like Homa, while still being one of the most powerful upgrades,
I think that's why I'm gonna get Eulogy. I think Eulogy. I mean, I want Favonia as well, but Eulogy sounds. It's usually okay. Stringless versus Eulogy. Which is better for official?
With sword comes shadow.
Stringless? Okay.
Aristocratic edit.
Yeah!
Oh.
can get its value artificially inflated when just looking at Hu Tao's numbers instead of considering the bigger picture in terms of team DPS. For some other teams and characters, this can be less of an issue. Xiao and Wanderer both possess meta teams where they contribute above 75% of the team's damage output, and Ayaka teams can also come close, resulting in their weapons mattering quite a bit more. However, the majority of Genshin's top teams involve more even splits of personal damage contribution. Weapons that can increase every team member's damage typically provide better value. Currently, only a handful of weapons can provide stats to the whole team. Floating Dreams, Key, Elegy, Wolf's Gravestone, and Freedom Form are the 5-star options. The Zypho series and Felonious series are the gacha 4-star team weapons, and Hakushin Ring is the only free weapon that provides team-wide value. It's also worth noting weapons that provide stats to a different team member, not just the wearer of the weapon. These craftable Sumeru weapons all drop leaves that another character can pick up for a decent stat boost, and Thrilling Tales gives a different character a significant amount of attack. Because all of these weapons are more or less free to obtain, they won't be a focus of this video. The short version of these weapons is that it essentially lets a low damage support give their weapon stats to the main carry of the team. What you'll notice from the team DPS list is that a bunch of these weapons are obtained through 4-star gacha. Because of the greater quantity alone, a weapon banner with subpar 4 stars is significantly worse than one with more support oriented.
Yeah, I can't believe that. I can't believe some of these things have these like dog shit dude 40 stars. Anyway, TLDR, unless you're late game, don't wish on that shit. I'm gonna go because it's been 9 hours and I'm falling the fuck asleep. I said I was gonna go sleep an hour ago and I didn't, so I'm gonna do that now. I'll see you all later on today. Have a great rest of your evening. Thanks for playing with me. You can hang out in here if you want to, and I love you all. And holy, okay, night, bye. Oh my gosh.